Hello, everyone. This is Naftali Jotman from the Innovation Makers podcast, where we discuss people who are making an impact in innovation and doing interesting things, and the people that are not very well known. And we discuss what they're doing so everybody will know about it. So my guest today is Kobi Marenko, who is the CEO of Arbe Robotics, a company that is doing 4D imaging radar. Kobi is pretty well known, at least as being CEO of Arbe, but there's some aspect of his career that many people don't know about, which is he's also an angel investor. So I'd like to focus on that aspect of his career. Nobody has really spoken with him about it, and today we're going to find out some more. Kobi, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
We'd like to, before we get into the aspect of investment, I'd like to find out more about your career, how you got into being CEO of Arbe. Just give us some of the background.
I started my career as a journalist. I was a military reporter for the Israeli TV, what is called today Channel 12, Keshet. At that time it was Channel 22. So I was military reporter most of the 90s during the suicide bombing in Tel Aviv, during Lebanon and so on. And during this time I was also always fascinated by the internet, and I decided the new millennium starts to start a new career in January 1st, 2000, I left the news. Exactly the date. It's very easy to remember. And I started my career in the internet. I did a few things. I started my own venture in 2004, a company around mobile content. We provided to mobile carriers a label portal. It was the times of the WAP and Java and the things, everything that was there before smartphones. And when the smartphone phenomena started, we shifted to an Android solution for mobile carriers. Based on that and the traction we had, we merged with an American company called Digital Turbine, still traded on the NASDAQ. And today our solution is in hundreds of millions of mobile phones around the world, working with all of the leading carriers like Verizon in the States, T-Mobile, AT&T, and everyone else. So I saw that the ability of taking AI and adding it, at that time it wasn't called AI, it was called machine learning, and adding it to advertising could lead to a huge impact. And I started my second venture. The company at that time was called Taptica. We built a real-time machine learning for advertising. So we learned the campaigns, we learned the users, and we were able to match in real time, in microseconds, the right ad to the right user on the right time. The company grew up very fast. We reached a run rate of $20 million in revenues in less than 18 months. And we found ourselves merging with another company and together listing the mutual company on the stock markets. Today, the company is also traded on the NASDAQ called Nexen. We were, I think, the first company to use machine learning in order to optimize advertising. And in Taptica, I had a very brilliant PhD student from Weizmann Institute that did the machine learning, all of the algorithms and that. And when he finished his PhD on the age of 26, 27, I asked him, what would you like to do? And he said, I want to start my own venture around radar and robotics. So I invested the first $100,000 in this company. We called it Arbe. And we started working on this kind of radar.
For those who don't know, what's the background of the word Arbe?
So Arbe,
I don't know what Arbe.
Yeah, so Arbe is Locust in Hebrew. And the beginning, our idea was not to do one single imaging radar. It was to put many transmitters on a very small robots and make them receive the signal from those entire hundreds of robots, and based on that, map the ground. So those robots will jump in an area that is not mapped, like after earthquake or something like this. And by that, we will generate a full picture of the environment in any weather and lighting condition in a very high resolution. We didn't find a customer for that, but the same techniques, the same idea, even the same math basically helped us develop a ultra high resolution radar for automotive that again has many transmitters and many receivers and can generate a full picture of the environment in any weather, any lighting condition, and up to a very long range. So this is how I find myself from a journalist to
Of a publicly traded company.
on a semiconductors company, not just a traded company. I've been in a public company before, but this one is really different because it's really deep tech. It's really automotive. I think is the toughest market in the world. Always
Besides aerospace.
maybe besides aerospace. Yeah, I always saying that if I knew about automotive 6, 7, or 8 years ago, what I know today, I would start a company in a much more easier area like phones.
Much faster time to market.
Yeah.
So just before we go into the investment part of it, there are a lot of technologies for autonomous vehicles. Radar is what you're focusing on, but maybe make a distinction. There's also LiDAR, just a quick distinction so that everybody.
So basically, radar and LiDAR are relatives because both of them are active sensors. They are transmitting. Radar transmit a millimeter wave. LiDAR transmit photons. Basically, it's the same thing, just a different frequency, and both of them transmitting, receiving back from the environment the reflection, another reflection, the photons or the RF signal, based on the time that took to the photons or to the RF, to the millimeter wave, to receive, and the frequency and so on, we are generating a picture of the environment. The advantage of LiDAR is because of the fact that it's light you can do in the same, and the frequency is higher on the same more or less size. LiDAR has a better resolution. LiDAR has a bit lower resolution, but it can penetrate any weather, any condition that you can think of, even a storm. Mm-hmm. Like when your mobile phone works, the radar works. LiDAR is by the end of the day light. And of course, there is the camera. The camera is passive. It's basically takes the reflections from the environment and generating a picture of that. I think today there was a debate, radar, LiDAR, camera, or whatever. I think today most of the industry is going to the three modalities. So to take their radar, LiDAR, and camera today together, fuse them to a single picture, and based on that, take the decisions in real time. This is what makes it complicated because it's a lot of data. There is problem of synchronizing the sensors, sometimes what the camera sees and what the radar sees and what the LiDAR sees.
Fusion is the hard part.
Yeah, fusion is the hard part. The perception is the hard part. The safety on that. So you want to make sure that this technology works 100% of the time. And we will not take... You
get something for radar, you get something for LiDAR, you get something for some vision, and in real time you have to decide what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And by the end of the day, we want to make sure that this technology works 100% in every corner cases. And in automotive, there is so much corner cases. Wow, I'm a lot into the AI. Today, I think a very good AI stack that, for example, you're using in a call center to identify, to understand what the customer is saying and to answer him, a very good result today is 85%. If you're missing just 15%, it's great. 90%, it's crazy. In automotive, you need 100% because if you're missing in 10%, think of it, the amount of accidents that those cars will do. Even if you're missing 1%, because there is such amount of cars driving every day, every minute in the world, even if you miss 1%, you'll do so much accidents that nobody will touch this technology.
You could think of it more on a personal level. If I were to tell you I'm telling you 99% truth right now.
Yeah.
I'm 100% lying.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's very interesting, and I'm glad to see that Arbit has survived in the recent mobility and automotive. The difficulties that are going on in that market.
This is really the business of last man stands.
It's great to see that you're standing, and I know it doesn't have anything to do with you, but I know that Elon Musk has opinions on LiDAR, and it doesn't have any bearing on radar, so to speak, but everything has a bearing on each other. So it's glad to see that one Israeli company is, among others, are standing strong and making progress. But let's talk about your role as an angel investor. How'd you get into investing? I mean, you spent $100,000 of your own money. I don't want to ask the personal question, but I assume that you've had exit activities in the past. You were able to, with that, you're now able to leverage that for investments in companies. So please tell us how you got into it, whatever you can tell us.
Yeah. So after we went public with Tactica, and I decided to leave the company, I took some time off. My younger daughter was born, so I stayed with her for a few weeks at home. And I got a call from a good friend from the past, Yoav Peretz. He's the CEO of Herzliya Studios and managing Tyra, that is a public company in Tel Aviv stock market. And he told me that he wants to invest in startups, and he wants me to help him to do that. So we found a model that basically we started something like micro fund. At that time, it was, a $2 million vehicle that I put my money in companies, and on top of it, Tyra is investing, and I'm getting part of the profits from Tyra. So it was somewhere around 2015. We started investing in startups, and our focus was, because I was coming from media, and Tyra is owning Herzliya Studios, which is again about media and about video that time was booming, and AI. Sorry, it wasn't called AI, it was called machine learning, because this is what I was fascinated about after I saw what machine learning is doing in Tactica. So we started investing in companies. It took us a year or two to understand the profile of companies that we're investing in and the stage that we're investing in. So we understood that early stage is something that help with first-time founders, that we can bring the experience from one hand, and from the other end, those are entrepreneurs that, it's not cyber. So cyber, of course, if you're doing cyber, even in 2015, and you're coming from the right divisions in the Israeli military, you can raise money just like that.
$100
881 or whatever.
They all begin with 8.
Yeah, something, yeah. But if you're not from there, and you don't want to start a company around cyber at that time, and I think it's still a problem to raise money.
I can tell you from firsthand, it's a problem to raise money if you're not cyber defense or AI nowadays.
Yeah. So we're focusing on those kinds of, we try to be the first check. We were focusing on those kinds of entrepreneurs. Time went, and time goes by, and I understood the barrier that we are generating here in Arbe, in hardware and deep tech. I started also investing in deep tech. The fund was not about it. So the fund was about AI and media. So I started doing in parallel my own investments around deep tech.
So it's independently?
We finished to invest the fund, I think 3 years ago. We just recently sold one company. We left with just one company today, a very successful games company called Mooney.
So how many companies did you invest in?
We invested in the fund in 12 or 13, I don't remember. We sold Of course, we shut down part of them, but we sold the majority of them. We had the nice exits. The multiples were very high, turned more than 2.5 times on the money in cash. And we still have a major stake in Mooney, that is a large mobile games company, and that this can bring 4 times, 4x, something like that. So in the last 4 years, I'm investing mainly in deep tech. And in the last 2 years, of course, AI is the main theme. This is what I'm doing. Today, I'm still active investor in around 10 companies. Most part of them, it's people that were working with me in the past. I like teams that were working with me. I think.
What's your most important criteria? So I have to ask the question if people that you know in the past, you're investing mainly people first.
Yeah, it's of course people first. It's people that I know that I would enjoy working with them, and together we can make something that will be really big. Mm-hmm. I don't want to work with entrepreneurs that just want cash there is around there. I think that what I'm trying to help is to help them avoid a lot of mistakes that you're doing. Avoiding mistakes does not give you the guarantee that you will be successful, but I'm sure that if you're doing those kinds of mistakes, you won't be successful. So I'm trying, the chances to do a home run in startups, the chances, it's quite low. But
1 in 10 if it's good.
1 in 10? No. 1 in 10 is amazing. Is a 1 in 10 home run is a very good outcome of a fund. To be honest, in Taya we had 2 in 13, but it was really good years for the Israeli ecosystem, and we were able to get into companies in very low valuation, and there was a growth, and there were secondaries, and I don't know if today it's still you can still do 2 out of 10 or 2 out of 15. 2 out of 15 is amazing. Avoiding, there is so much mistakes that you can do. I remember from my days in when I was journalist, there is a famous interview of Menachem Begin when he got into the prime minister office. So I think it was to the New York Times. So he was asked, after 30 years that you were on the opposition and you were not elected again and again and again, did you had a plan for these 30 years how to reach the prime minister office? And Begin said, in politics, it's like you're going in a very, very long way. And then there is doors, and there is 2 doors. And you open one, you hope that this is the right one. And it opens, and just what you see is again, long way. So you're going again to the long, and again, there is 2 doors, and you hope you're all. And by the end of the day, if you were successful in opening the right doors, you reach to the prime minister office. So I think it's a very good metaphor for startups. It's a long way. Always there is 2 doors, and if you missed and you opened the wrong door, you can be dead easily. And sometimes it's just a luck.
Sometimes you might stand before 2 doors and you're like, I don't want to go through either one, and then I have to pivot to 2 more doors.
Exactly. And sometimes it's luck. The market change. I was investor in a company that was called SafeBlocks. Mm-hmm. I also helped them start it. Again, it was someone that approached me. I took someone that was working with me in the past. I brought them together. They were a good team together. And we were doing cybersecurity for smart contracts. I think it was a brilliant idea. The technology worked, but there was no market at all. And then the Bitcoin crashed, and all of the crypto market crashed, and we couldn't raise money.
It seems like the crypto is crashing and going up, crashing and going up.
Yeah, there is a cycle, but we were just falling on the lowest part of the cycle. And, a few months after that, there was another company that started that did the same. And today it's one of the largest unicorns in Israel. They're doing cybersecurity to smart contracts. They just started 18 months after us on the right timing, when the market was low and it started climbing. And when they had a product and they started sales, there was a hype on the crypto. You can raise money easily. There was $100 million and end of story. I think it's by the end of the day, you think that you're smart. You think it's because of you, but 99.99%
In the right place at the right time.
exactly.
So Kobi, I want to ask you what kind of, before I get to that, about the impact you're trying to make in a few years, I want to ask you about, do you leave money focused in early stage, or do you go into additional rounds afterwards? How does that work for you?
Basically, I'm trying to do a very early stages. Sometimes I'm continue to investing and to secure my part. For example, in avionics.
Successful automotive, aerospace, many fields. I actually like these companies that have many fields that you can do platform technologies.
Yeah,
Because you're able to increase your chances of going to market.
exactly.
So, okay, so 20 years time from now, what is,
Wow.
how do you want to be remembered? What impact, this is the whole point of why I have these interviews. What kind of impact do you want to leave? And how do you want to, people to remember you and what you were able to generate? Not many people know you're an investor, so it's great to know and know more about what you're doing. So what impact do you want to, make, and what's your goal?
I'm trying to invest in companies that will really make a difference. So I'm an investor and part of the board of Epsilon, that is early stage, working with early stage climate companies.
It's Uriel Clark.
One of the first checks there.
So you must know people like serial climate entrepreneurs like you, Bornstein.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think this is one thing that was very important to me. Even before Epsilon and before Uriel even was in this business, I was the first checking a not Israeli company, in a German company called 1.5, that using AI in order to produce a fully recycled packages, mainly for food and creams and so on, things that are not, that still the package is not really recycled. You know that plastic, by the end of the day, we are putting the plastic in the recycle pack and they take it, but more.
You go there close to the ocean.
Yeah, more than 90% of it is not recycled.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that really recycled is paper. So they are using a kind of paper, and if you have above 90% of the material from paper, this can be recycled. So if you add to paper things, chemical things that helping it to be to work in with creams and with beverages and so on, it's basically solves the problem. So there's no the plastic. The fact that we are putting the plastic in the garbage that is for plastic is helping us to think that we are doing good, but plastic is bad. 90% of it is not recycled. So paper is the only thing. So I invested in a company called Morenko. The passion to autonomous driving came from the same thing, to reduce car accidents. By the end of the day, in 10 years from now, I hope we will have a much safer world. AI is really changing, I think, the nature of our humanity. We don't know yet what it will do to the humanity, but I think that there will be good things out of it. So I'm around it.
Let me ask her, you only focus on investing in Israeli companies? You haven't considered anything outside of Israel?
So I did some things outside of Israel. It's It's again, people that were working with me in the past, in previous ventures and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I'm trying to go to teams that I know or a friend of mine know, or I'm around this.
You're saying something that's common that I've heard from other investors. It's mainly the most important thing is the team. And then after that, they have the ability to prove that they can make the technology work. There are many criteria, but some of the most important ones are team, technology, they know what the market is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The teams are the most important thing, but you need to find a problem that is big enough.
So how do you find time being CEO of a publicly traded company and then looking at your LinkedIn profile, I see you're chairman of several companies. How do you balance all that?
I think managing time is the easy part. So I think I'm very efficient in managing my time. This is how you're doing it. I have good managers here in Albe that are running the show. I just need to help them. With the startups, it's, I think an hour in a week or 2 hours in a week that you're with this entrepreneur that is...
Per startup. So you're on the board of 10. So it's good. It's a good chunk of your week.
Something like it's a day in a week that
20% of your time is basically
something like that.
So it shows a lot of dedication.
But I think even being CEO of a startup, being a CEO in general, this is very lonely. You're alone, and you don't have anyone that basically you can really consult with. So like being the guy that, listening, sometimes just listening to the CEO. And then again, I've been in this same problem in the past. It will take 2 months and it will pass, things are happening and
you're in the middle getting shut up by your board and telling your team, I need this in a month, and they're telling you it's going to take 6 months. And it's a big balancing act.
Yeah, I think the fact that I've seen, I've seen the bubble burst in 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
I've seen the crisis in 2008.
What do you think is going to happen with AI? I asked this question on LinkedIn yesterday as a survey question. Will there be some kind of partial bubble burst? I read there's up to 498 AI unicorns out there. That's $2.8 trillion evaluation of all these companies together, which is huge.
Regarding the first bubble burst of the internet, if you would buy Amazon, even on the top peak of year 2000, just before the market crash, and you would hold Amazon since then till today, you would be very rich.
Like startups, you don't know what to invest in.
No, but they were a market leader. Well, so I think that
if I invested in NVIDIA 5 years ago, where would it be today?
Exactly. So I don't think that when you're saying that there is a bubble, there is always there is a bubble. Every year there is a bubble. Even in automotive, there was a bubble.
Then eventually, though, you have to meet the investors and what's going on, and that's what happened with automotive recently.
The problem, how the bubble is created, there is something that is real. AI is real. It's changing the world. And then everyone's starting investing, and there's not a lot of good companies, because by the end of the day, most of the companies sucks. So, but there is so much money in the world today, and this money is poured into those companies. Some of them will be successful, some of them won't. But I think there is something really here. So there will be a huge data centers 10 years from now, much more than today. So NVIDIA will continue to sell chipsets for that. Maybe not on the same gross margins. No,
I'm not worried about NVIDIA. I'm worried more about the smaller startups.
Smaller startups, the ratio would be as usual. So there will be the next Amazon coming from this area, and there would be the next Google coming from this area. Google, in the year 2000, Google was nothing. Today it's worth trillions of dollars. Amazon was close to nothing after the bubble burst. Today it's trillions of dollars. So there is a lot of companies that, because of the AI, will be mega companies. And as always, there is companies that will finish the money and will go bankrupt. I think that you need to build something that is defendable and not something that is hype. So vibe coding, I think, to take it to the level of lovable, this is hype, as opposed to Copilot that is real thing. So there is things that will survive and there is things that will die. And what is happening today is it's much faster than any time in the history of the world. You can be a mega unicorn in 9 months, and 9 months after you can be bankrupt.
I've seen a few companies like that. So thank you, Kobi, for giving this perspective on a part of your career that many people don't know about.
Thank you for hosting.
How can people get in touch with you?
KobiMR@gmail.com.
Really great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.